Greetings, all my number one fans. I am George Wilson, George Jiff Wilson, and I am here today to talk about my life story basically and how I made decisions and younger days that have been able for me to sit here today and be proud of all the accomplishments I've had in the sport of basketball. I was born in Meridian, Mississippi in 5942. I was called a war baby, and what happened was my dad went off to war and my mom couldn't take care of me, so she left me with my aunt, and then my dad came home when I was about when the war was over, and all the Wilson family left Meridian, Mississippi because, again, of all the racial and prejudice and a few things that happened down there, and the whole family left. And we all went to California. I was like a year old, 2 years old. So I went to California, lived there until I was 5 with my dad and my grandmother and grandfather and my aunt, the one that took care of me. So when I was 5 years old, going to school and just having a good time, all of a sudden one summer my aunt from New York came to California, and that was in the summer, and in August of 1950 I wound up going to Chicago, and I got to Chicago, and that was the first time I'd ever laid eyes on my mom. And my aunt had told my mother to go get me, and my mother had just remarried to a wonderful gentleman named Mr. Henry Knight, and they moved from Meridian and down in Alabama to Chicago. So my mom, of course, told her she didn't have any money and she couldn't go get me. So that particular aunt, who was in charge of all the other brothers and sisters and the oldest, she told my mother, "Don't worry about it. You just get things ready. I will send him to you." And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, I was put on the Super Chief in LA in that 1950, and by myself. But what happened was, one of the porters, he worked and he lived in the neighborhood where we lived, and he put me in his cabin where they sleep and work, because he went to another one. So all for 3 days I played, and he brought me food, and I stayed in there all the way from LA to Chicago. And then when I got to Chicago, I got off, and first time I laid eyes on my mom, I saw her when I was a little baby, and we stayed in the Terrace apartments, which was a Frank Lloyd Wright. And so I went there and went to elementary school, which was 2-3 blocks around the corner, to Alfred Tennyson. And those years at Alfred Tennyson, from the 2nd grade till I graduated, was the greatest years of my life. When I was in the 7th grade, my mom somehow got upset with the landlord in the Terrace. So a friend of hers told her about another apartment that was 10 blocks away at 2918 Fifth Avenue, which was 3 blocks away from Marshall. So as a 7th grader, I had to go to another school called Beigler, which was only 4 blocks from my new house. But I decided one night I didn't want to go to Beigler, because at that time I was probably 5'10" in the 8th grade, and I knew I had to go there. Would only be there maybe 2 years, 7th and 8th grade. So I went to the principal and the teachers, and I asked them, could I please stay in Marshall? And so, since I had been going there since the 2nd grade, and trust me, young folks, it's your character and what happens, a lot of time decisions are made. I had perfect attendance from the 2nd grade through high school. That meant nor tardy nor absent in cold, windy Chicago. So the teachers decided that I could stay at Marshall. And when I got to Marshall, they'd already heard about me because I was start playing in the boys club. When I was 10 years old, we won the city championship, and I played at Maryland House in the summer. So everybody knew I could play. So I started playing varsity when I was a freshman at Marshall, and I played that year. And then a sophomore year, when Ralph and Steve and MC, they were all seniors, Tyrone, and here I was a young sophomore. And then, also people, when you're growing up and you see something positive, take advantage of it. I used to go up to Northwestern University because Ralph Wells was our guard at the time. Well, he graduated just before we won state. So he went up there. So I used to go up there and play because I never played with guys my own age. So I used to go up there and play against the college guys. And this guy named Joe Rutledge, white guy about 6'10", had the prettiest hook shot. So one night I blocked his hook shot, being a little little freshman. So he didn't take to that too kindly. But anyway, show you how we are back in the days when we were growing up. So I went over and asked him the next time, I said, Joe, can you show me how to shoot that hook shot? And so he was thrilled that I asked him. Sure enough, he showed me how to shoot a hook shot right hand, hook shot left hand, how to bank, how to come across the middle. So my sophomore year, I only shot maybe 100 jump shots and layups all year. All I have shot hook shots. And so our team came together, and our coach, Spence Lario, had just come back my freshman year. Now I was a sophomore, and we were playing, and we won city, and then we went down and we won state. We were like people have said, we were rock stars. We owned Chicago. First time in the history of Chicago, first time in the history of Illinois that a high school team out of Chicago won state. So then we won state, and we came back, and in Illinois, you can win the state championship, and you have to come back and play the Catholic school for the city championship, because the Catholic school, they didn't participate in the state tournament because they didn't have enough Catholic schools at that time in Illinois. They had 25 Catholic high schools in Chicago, but we had 42 public high schools. So they didn't participate, but you had to play them for the city championship. And guess what, folks? The public school never, I repeat again, never beat the Catholic school. So we had a job to do, and so my freshman year, I forgot to tell you, we lost to Crane, and so we had to play the Catholic school for third place, and we won. And then my sophomore year, we won the city, so we had to play them for first place. We were the first team to ever beat the Catholic school, so we won then. Then my junior year, we were headed back downstate, and I can honestly tell you, and I hope you don't cut this out, that's when I learned about the zebras and how, unfortunately, referees can make decisions to make you win or lose. And we wasn't supposed to go to the state again, but we had heart, and we went, and in the super section, we were winning. And this team that we played, now you tell me, they averaged 3 to 4 guys to foul out or get in foul trouble 20-some games before they played us. The night they played us, I had 2 fouls in the first minute. I'm averaging 27 points a game. My teammate MC Thompson, he averaging 25, and he didn't have any fouls at halftime. But make a long story short, who do you think fouled out second half? He did. And I had 3 fouls, of course, most of the game. And we still lost by our last second shot. Well, after that, we all went down to Illinois, and because we had already reserved a hotel, because we were in the Elite Eight, so we went down there, and I saw that referee, and I was underneath down in Illinois, and I went over and basically just asked him, ref, I still, and in kidding, how did you call that third foul on me? And I had my hands up in the air. And the way he talked to me and the way he belittled me, I know to this day I blacked out because I was going like I was in inner city getting ready to fight somebody. And luckily MC Thompson stopped me, picked me up and carried me away. Because if he hadn't have, and I'd have got my hands on that referee at that time, I know I was already blacked out. I was going to be in real serious trouble. So MC, God rest his soul, was passed about almost a year now. He was always my mentor, always my big brother the rest of my life. And he lived in Atlanta, and we always touch base, go visit each other. Okay, so anyway, we went on back, and my sophomore year, Spencer, we won state. My junior year, we got ripped off. Now come my senior year, we said we will never ever let an official be a part of a victory or a defeat. So my coach Salario said, you win by as many points as you can. I'll apologize to the coach afterwards. So we did. We ran. And the first game of the year, guess what, folks? We get beat by Dunbar, which had the best team in the city, at our place by 12 points. So then we win about 10 games in a row, and then we meet Dunbar again, and we lost them in overtime in the Tech tournament during Christmas. So now we get ready for city championship, and we're going to have to face Dunbar probably again. Well, guess what? Dunbar was looking over the hill, waiting on us, and the team accidentally beat them by 2-3 points. So now it was all over. We just walked from the city championship. We went to state, and to make sure that the officials didn't get involved, we won the state by 20-some points. And then we come back to Chicago. You remember I said we had to play the Catholic school, which was De La Salle or one of those, in the Chicago Stadium. 17,600 fans at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, third Saturday or one of the Saturdays in March. And the reason I remember 17,600 because the Globetrotters with Goose Tatum and them came in that night and they had 17,800. The Chicago Stadium seated 18,000. So anyway, we went on and won. And then, so that made us the only team. And to this day, people ask me a lot of times, what was the most accomplishment you've made in your life? And I always tell them, beating the Catholic schools 4 straight times.